Alright, what's going on, Forgotten Nation? I'm your host, FG, and today we're looking at Alex Kidd The Lost Stars with Stella, an arcade game released by Sega in 1986. This isn't actually the first time we've covered this game on the channel. We actually played this a while back. I'll leave an icon up above if you do want to check it out, but be warned that the video may have aged quite a little bit. But honestly, since we're covering games for the Astro City Mini, and Sega arcade games in general, I feel like this is a good game to come back to, especially because at the time of this recording, they just released not too long ago the Alex Kidd Miracle World DX remake. So really, this video, aside from simply playing a little bit more of The Lost Stars, it's more or less going to be talking about the Miracle World remake, what I thought of it, because I actually did pick up the collector's edition getting ready for the release of the game. But that comes with a little bit of discrepancy, as I'll explain as we get into this gameplay session. So let's not waste any more time, let's quarter up, and remember,
The customer is king.
the customer is king. I love that line. But find the miracle ball, and let's begin. So this is honestly considered the black sheep of the Alex Kidd series, because even though it's Alex Kidd in the arcade, it barely resembles anything we've seen from Alex Kidd up to this time. It's not Miracle World, it's not Shinobi World, it's not the BMX Trials. Simply put, this is just Alex Kidd in a very unique setting to say the least, but it's not entirely Alex Kidd. It's a platforming gauntlet game where the objective is simply get to the end of the stage without getting killed, which sounds a lot easier than it's actually executed, because this game is made to burn quarters, especially in the later stages, and I'm doing really good right about now, but it does get hard, and I know I died a whole bunch when I did the initial gameplay session long ago, but I can see why people really don't enjoy this one. I don't hate it. I still think this is a great game. That's the problem, though. While it's a great game, I don't think it's a great Alex Kidd game. Because I don't think anyone really thought at the time, or even now, is this Alex Kidd? And they have every right to be discretional about it. But for what it is, I still think this is a game that can hold up well, at least outside the arcade. Because that difficulty comes with the cost of quarters. And I don't think I'd be willing to spend any more than at least $2 on this game, just to see how far I can get. Any more than that, and I would rather spend that money on something else. Just saying. Really, I think it's the one-hit KO system. Like, say I got like 3 hits per life, it'd be a little more generous with what they're going for here. But it's just so difficult, and it's so easy to lose lives that you may never see anything more than the first couple of stages. And that's pretty disappointing to say the least. But as you avoid everything in this first stage, which is kind of like a Toyland, and that's kind of fun, it's a different aesthetic. What you see is what you get. What you see is what you get. So before we talk about the Miracle World DX, I just want to try to get through the stage, and watch out for this happy bear guy. I'll take it. I'll take it. And that's a reference to Opa Opa. We did just cover Fantasy Zone not too long ago. My only regret was the outro. But alright. Let's talk about Miracle World DX. So I never actually did grow up with Miracle World, and I never actually played the original Miracle World up until the release of DX. I know a lot of people say that for what it is, it's an old game, it's a retro game, but it hasn't entirely aged well, and that's mostly because of its design, the way it controls, and the extra difficulty. And I see where they're coming from with the Miracle World. I don't think its age is particularly bad as they say it has, but you can start to see some flaws playing it today versus if you were to play it its original form from the Master System. So I do think that a remake was warranted. Initial impressions of the remake, I didn't entirely enjoy it. I couldn't help but feel like they should have done more with it. That what they did have wasn't enough. I wanted there to be more of it. I wanted there to be more to the gameplay, because the things that they did update are great. The aesthetic, the art style is amazing as far as sprite art goes. The music, I mean, from a game that only had like 7 tracks, getting a full soundtrack, I'm glad to have the collector's edition just for that. It sounds great. It really does sound great. But then you come to the gameplay, and the gameplay is probably the biggest thing that didn't change all that much. The gameplay is just as much as you may remember the original. The physics are slightly different because of the engine, which I think is the Unity engine. But it still has a bit of unfairness to it. Alright, we lost a life here, but we're gonna keep going just a little longer. So BNN and quarter up. But even though they did add some new stuff to the levels, more specifically the environments, even in the 8-bit style. Because you only had the main theme and whatnot from the original game, but now you have a poisonous swamp, you have a desert, you have Mount Clave, which is Mount Clave. Really cool, and I love the music that plays with it too. So clearly they did some work, and there's even some original levels that weren't in the original Alex Kidd. But the thing is, they're hard to tell apart from the rest of the game. Whether it's just me not knowing or really just coming down to the details. But they did add more to the game. So I can't help but wonder, why do I feel disappointed in the end? Like, if something's missing or something didn't add up. And I think that's just because it's still the original game at the end of the day. And while I still don't think that the original game's all that bad, it's just that I don't think it's gonna attract newcomers to want to revisit Alex Kidd. Even with new gloss of paint, I still feel like there should have been more. At the very least, I think the one thing that could have fixed it was adding just a little more content. Like, say for example, adding in some levels from Enchanted Castle. I know that's probably out of the realm of possibility, but I really don't know. I don't know what could have changed my opinion of it, or if my opinion is even warranted at this point. But here we go, weirdest enemy of the game right here. I don't know what they were thinking when they came up with that guy. But then the other thing too was the collector's edition I got. I'm no stranger to collector's editions. I actually almost did an unboxing of it on the channel, but it didn't turn out the way I wanted to, so I scrapped it all together. And that was why there was a bit of a long pause between arcade gameplay sessions. The stuff they added is cool and all, but I don't think it really adds to the value of the game. One thing I've noticed when I've done other unboxings on the channel is because it usually has something that makes me reflect upon the game. And this time around, there wasn't a whole lot aside from, say, for example, the art book and the pendant with the money bag, which the money bag was probably my favorite collectible of the collector's edition. But when he adds stuff like the pins, that's not doing it for me. The art book was kind of lacking. I think the worst thing, though, was the card game. There wasn't much unique about the card game. It's literally just a full deck of cards of rock, paper, scissors. If they add some numbers, I feel like that could have added some value to it, like, say, a substitute to regular cards. But I'm not going to use a card game to play rock, paper, scissors. This is going to be the last continue we use. I just want to talk a little more about Miracle World. And I also noticed that in the art book, they're actually missing one major character. The princess, Princess Laura. She doesn't appear at all in the art book, but they do include King Thor and Alex's mother, which never make an appearance at all in the game. So there's clearly thought going into this, but the execution, it leaves some room to be desired. I only appreciated the game more, though, after I unlocked the classic mode in Miracle World DX, which is a developer remake of the original game. And when I played that, comparing it side to side, that's when I appreciated Miracle World DX a whole lot more. Seeing the real difference between the original game and what they did with the remake. And that's how I've come to appreciate Miracle World DX. And that's why I don't hate it. I just feel mixed about it, if that makes sense. And in some ways you can say the same thing about The Lost Stars. While it's not entirely Alex Kidd, only by name, I'm glad they had Stella, by the way, there is still something that you can enjoy here. It's not just, it has its caveats, sure, but there's still some thought and appreciation that went into its design. And while it may not be for everyone, there is definitely some out there that will enjoy it for what it is. That's the best way to describe Miracle World DX, and that's the best way to describe The Lost Stars. Just don't play the Master System version. Even though it does add a little more like a final boss, it doesn't do a whole lot better than the arcade version. But that's just my opinion. If you agree or you disagree, let me know down below, but that's going to do for this gameplay session of The Lost Stars. Once again, I'll have an icon above one more time if you want to check out the original, but just know that it may not have aged entirely well. I'm sorry. But that's going to do for this gameplay session. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like and comment down below. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. And remember, the customer is king. But let's do one more. Let's go a round of Jankenpon. Do it with me. Jankenpon. No, wait!